This is Windsor Castle. It is the largest, the oldest continually occupied castle in the world. 1,000 years of monarchs have stayed there. So you've seen the outside, you've probably seen the grounds, you may have seen the chapel, but for the very first time, our cameras are going right inside. Come with. And right into St. George's Hall, entirely destroyed in a fire in 1992, but meticulously rebuilt. It's considered the most fabled space in Windsor Castle. Then there is the Royal Library. This is the place we were really eager to see because this is the place that houses some of the most precious items in the royal collection. Few better to wander around with than Robert Hardman, who knows and has been writing about the Queen for decades.
It's very rare to be allowed to film in here because this is one of the world's great libraries. I mean, this is the Royal Library. Just below us, on the floor below, I mean, the world's greatest collection of Leonardo da Vinci drawings. Oof. But I mean, just here on these shelves, we've got things like the first edition of Jane Austen, which she presented to the Prince Regent. Somewhere in here, I think there's a composition that Mozart wrote when he was 11. You've got first editions, folio editions of Shakespeare, Charles Dickens. I mean, really, English literature is contained in these walls.
Books and treasures, quite a few with Canadian connections. So one of the beauties, I think, of being here and having access to the Royal Photographs Archive is I think we're seeing some pictures that aren't necessarily in wide circulation, shall we say?
Certainly. I've never seen these before. This is very exciting. So
this is 1951.
Oh, yes.
And Ottawa, I believe.
At the War Memorial. And here they are arriving. Duke saluting. Look at those cars, wonderful. All veterans. The main purpose was to say thank you. Thank you for standing at Britain's side. Thank you for helping us get through the war. I mean, this was meant to be a tour by the King. After the war, the King was ill, and so she was standing in with the Duke for this extraordinary, I mean, going from coast to coast. It was the most ambitious tour Princess Elizabeth had ever conducted. But this was a very big deal to see the Princess, very glamorous figure then. I mean, a trip like this was just sort of fairy tale stuff.
Fairy tale or otherworldly are also pretty good descriptors for the collection of gifts for the Queen from Canada and Canadians in particular. Over the decades, the Queen has been gifted a tiny, noisy, amphibious car from Lester B. Pearson. A pair of live beavers, several horses from the RCMP, the huge and the oh-so-little, meticulously kept and catalogued at Windsor Castle. This is very sweet. So it says to Princess Elizabeth, it's from Teresa Drewley Black. So in here, it's a nickel. It's a 1947 Canadian nickel. Of course, there's a beaver on the front. And then on the back, that would have been the Queen's father, King George VI.
That's lovely. It's the thought that counts. Clearly someone who wanted to give her a memento, to give her something.
I think people would be surprised that it's still here.
It just shows that nothing's thrown away here, everything is logged, and clearly that charming little envelope, it's still sitting here at Windsor and it'll be there forever.
I think that's the maple leaf brooch.
I think you're right. I think there it is.
Look at that. So of all the objects and all the stories, why is this one so special?
This goes back to so many aspects of the Queen's life. Above all, it goes to her love of and connection with Canada, a place she's visited more than any other country on earth. It goes back to her parents. This is a very special piece of jewellery. We should now call it a crown jewel that King George VI gave to the Queen, Queen Elizabeth, our current Queen's mother, as they set off on that crucial, that epic 1939 tour. It's baguette cut diamonds in the shape of a sugar maple, and we know that King George VI commissioned it himself from Asbury. A lot of thought went into this.
And so then she wore it to Canada in 1951.
She wore it in 1951 at several key moments on her tour as princess. Her mother said to her before she left, "Darling, you must take my maple leaf brooch." It's underlying that continuity, that sense of one generation linking into another. She's worn it many, many times, obviously, since, and has lent it to younger members of the family on key occasions.
So this did not come from a climate-controlled bunker somewhere. Where did this come from?
Yep, you won't find this on display at the Tower of London. This is from the Queen's private jewellery collection. It's come from her apartment. She's very kindly, in honour of this programme, has allowed us to have a look at it close up. I've never got this close to this piece before. I doubt many people have. Queens and princesses will be wearing that hundreds of years hence.
I don't think I ever thought there'd be a hockey puck in the Royal Archives.
That's the other Canadian crown jewels.
Well,
yeah.
absolutely.
Isn't that amazing?
So apparently we can touch this one.
Over to you.
Which I really want to do because there's Howie Meeker's signature, Wayne Gretzky. I mean, you know Wayne
yes,
Gretzky.
I mean, you know, he's the great Wayne Gretzky, and he was there. I mean, this is the Queen's Golden Jubilee year, 50 years on the throne. And she's the guest of honour at this great exhibition match. She's not just on the pitch, as we would say in the UK, she's on the ice.
2002, less than a year since 9/11. How big a deal would it have been for someone to say, we know it's a scary time in the world, but we would like to put the Queen in the middle of the ice, an arena of 18,000 people to drop a puck? Like, how would that conversation have gone?
But the people might have been a bit nervous asking it, but I've absolutely no doubt when it was put to the Queen, she would have just said, well, absolutely, why not?
The Queen has always understood the power of a moment. And think about that one. 2002, right after Canada won both the men's and women's hockey gold at the Salt Lake Olympics. The pride as big as that night's ovation.
I mean, that was a moment. Ice hockey's not a big thing in Britain, but that picture was all over the British press the next day, and I've no doubt it was over all the papers in Canada as well. One of those moments where, without saying a word, the monarch can just bring together and capture the spirit of a moment very powerfully, more powerfully than words can.
If you were to characterize for me the relationship between the Queen and Canada, how would you characterize it?
I'd say that it goes beyond old friends. It's a relationship rooted in history, deep history, shared sacrifices. In our darkest hours, whatever it's been, say in 1940, Britain wasn't standing alone. Britain had Canada there. You know, I think you look back through history as two nations, what unites us? Well, the lady who lives over there.
Literally lives over there.
Yeah.